Rodilla. They are Sandy's parents. There was a notification somewhere. I don't know what it was, but anyways. Let's continue. So yeah, we have a nice garden. She is 6 years old. She has 2 rabbits. I am from Aguadilla, and they are Sandy's parents. I think this is the last thing we did, the frequency adverbs exercise. Yeah, I usually get up late on Saturdays, which is 1C. Number 2 would be Jared is never late for work. Let's start presenting here. So remember that frequency adverbs were basically words that tell us how often things happen. So if anyone could tell me which of those 3 options here is the correct option for sentence number 3. Is it A, often do you travel on weekends? Is it B, do you often travel on weekends? Or C, often do you travel on weekends?
Sería, do you often travel on weekends?
Exactly right. Letter B. And since I maximize the presentation, I can't see the names of people who speak. So could you tell me your name?
Rachel.
Rachel, thank you so much. Let's continue with number 4. Susan blank early for class. We have 4 options now. A would be Susan often is early for class. B, Susan are often early for class. C, Susan often are early for class. And D, Susan is often early for class. For sentence number 4, which of these 4 options is the correct one?
Often.
That would be letter what?
D.
Letter D. Susan is often early for class. Very good. And your name?
Nayeli.
Nayeli. Thank you so much, Nayeli. Let's continue with number 5. Oh, sorry. Yes, there is a 5. Okay. When do you go on vacation each year? Option A would be, when do you always go on vacation each year? B, when do you never go on vacation each year? Letter C, when do you usually go on vacation each year? Or letter D, when do you ever go on vacation each year?
Letter C.
Okay, very good. And your name?
Hennessy.
Genesis, okay. So I got help from Rachel, Nayeli, and Genesis. All right, thank you so much, Genesis. Let's continue. So that was the simple present, and that was frequency adverbs. Let's begin with present progressive. Remember that you were supposed to... Hello?
Disculpa que pregunte, las primeras 2, ¿cuáles eran?
Okay, the first 2, you mean 1 and 2 or 3 and 4?
1 and 2.
Find it because I forgot the sentences. Okay. So 1 would be C. I usually get up late on Saturdays. And 2 would be B. Jared is never late for work.
Okay.
So it's 1C and 2B. And let's continue with the present progressive. So we already discussed the simple present last week. Let's begin with the present progressive. Remember that this is just a recap of what we were supposed to have learned in basic 1. I want you guys to have a good foundation so we can continue. So basically, the present progressive is activities or actions that are in progress. These actions are happening as we talk and as we write about them in a sentence. Examples. I am cooking at home now. It is raining in Mayagüez, so I am not walking to the supermarket. Javier is not buying a new phone at the mall. These are all actions that are occurring right now. Hypothetically speaking, I am cooking at home now. That means the action of cooking is taking place at my home right now. This one is probably more a statement of fact than anything because it's always raining in Mayagüez. So, of course, you might not want to walk to the supermarket. And Javier he had the idea of buying a new phone at the mall, but he is actually not going to do that right now because of COVID. So there is a formula for how to write in the present progressive. It's basically the same thing as the simple present, but now there is a difference that is not stated here and the one that is here. So of course we follow the same thing, SVO, which is subject, verb, object, but now the verb ends with ing. And there is an additional thing that I'm going to mention very soon. So let's take a look at both the simple present and the present progressive. Let's start with the simple, just to recap what we already know. The simple present expresses daily habits or usual activities, as in sentences A and B. These are A and B. So Anne takes a shower every day. B, I usually read the newspaper in the morning. These are things that, as it says here, they're habits or usual activities. You know, Anne takes a shower every day. So every day, Anne would be taking a shower. She took a shower yesterday. She will take a shower tomorrow. She is taking a shower today. I usually read the newspaper. So this means that more often than not, I will read the newspaper in the morning, tomorrow. Usually I read the newspaper yesterday, and most probably I am reading it this morning. The simple present expresses general statements of fact, as in sentence C. Babies cry, birds fly. Of course, that's what birds do, and this is what babies do. In general, the simple present is used for events or situations that exist always, usually, habitually in the past, present, and future. So yeah, basically, if something happens pretty much all the time, or it happens consistently, then you can talk about that in the simple present. A negative sentence would be, it doesn't snow in Bangkok, or it doesn't snow in Puerto Rico. We know that. Question, does the teacher speak slowly? Okay, we have the verb does and the verb speak. So that would be for simple present. We just take the main verb with no alterations, and sometimes we add an alteration, which would be the letter S. Now for the present progressive down here. The present progressive expresses an activity that is in progress or that is occurring or happening right now. The event is in progress at the time the speaker is saying the sentence. The event began in the past, is in progress now, and will probably continue into the future. Let's see, we'll see this in just a moment. Let's go to F through J. So for sentence F, Anne can't come to the phone right now because she is taking a shower. Let's break that sentence down based on what we saw here. The event is in progress at the time the speaker is saying the sentence. So there's two events here. Anne is taking a shower, and she can't pick up the phone because she is receiving a call while she's in the shower. The event began in the past, so she already started taking a shower at some point in the past, which is why she's in the shower now. Is in progress now, and will probably continue into the future. So at some point in the past, Anne got into the shower. In the present, she is still in the shower, and she got a phone call for which she can't come to the phone right now. And of course, we don't know when it's going to finish. There is no determination of that, when the phone call is going to end or when the shower is going to be completed. But anyways, there's two actions, and they both occur at the same time, and they started earlier. Let's continue with sentence G. I am reading my grammar book right now. The fact that we're reading it right now implies that we started reading it earlier. It doesn't matter when. It could be a second ago, it could be an hour ago. It doesn't matter. Just there was a beginning that is implied, and I am reading my grammar book right now. There is a be verb, and there is a main verb, read, which ends with ing. Okay? So this form here that says am, is, are, plus ing, this is what is missing from that original formula in the previous slide, which I just went back to. So this formula, actually I have to change this before I upload it. We have the subject, and before the verb, we have the be verb. So it's subject, be verb, main verb with ing, and then the object. We'll see what that means in just a second. In sentence H, Jimmy and Susie are babies. They are crying. I can hear them right now. Maybe they're hungry. So we have a lot of context for this example. So we have two human infants, Jimmy and Susie. We can presume they are babies. They are crying. So their tear ducts are functioning well, of course. You can hear their anguished cries for help because they are starving. And of course, they're babies and they can't really express themselves in any other way. So starting this, continuing this logic. So the babies started crying at some point in the past. They are currently crying right now, and I can hear them right now. And then we speculate that they may be hungry. This also works for negatives and questions. It isn't snowing right now. I bet you $1 you could look out your window right now and you would not see snow. And finally, the question, is the teacher speaking right now? That's very meta. But anyways, the difference between the simple present and the present progressive is that the simple present just has the main verb with either no alterations or it ends with an S. And then the main verb in the present progressive would be the main verb with an ing at the end, and before that, a be verb. So it would be be verb, main verb, ing, and then the rest of the sentence. We're going to see a little bit more about that in just a moment. So these are forms of the simple present and the present progressive. There are statements, negatives, and questions. Remember that statements are usually positive and factual. So what you're saying is true here. The simple present, I work. So you have the pronouns here, you have the main verb here. And these are the same in both the simple and the present. Excuse me, the simple present and the present progressive. So I work in the simple present, but in the present progressive, I am working. Okay? So work, it doesn't really say much. It just kind of implies that there is work and that I do it. But the present progressive, it implies a little bit more. It implies that there is work. Sorry, I clicked. Okay. It implies that there is work and that I am doing that right now. And that means, of course, that I began earlier. Anyways, let's continue with you. Work. You are working. He works. She works. It works. He is working. She is working. It is working. So I don't know if you can tell, all of these in the present progressive will end with ing. Okay? And apart from that, there is the addition of the be verbs here. Just in case you guys don't remember, there are 3 ways to express the be verb in the present tense. This is with am, are, and is. Okay? So there is no other be verb that you will use in the present progressive. It's only going to be am, are, or is. So really, that's why this says am, is, are, plus ing. And I clicked a little too fast, sorry. So we work, we are working, they are working. For our negative, it works the same, we just add not. So I do not work, or I am not working. You do not work, you are not working. He, she, it does not work. He, she, it is not working. We do not work, we are not working. They do not work, they are not working. So it's the same thing. In this case, we would change the do to the be verb are, or is, or am. And the not stays the same. And of course, the main verb, we just add ing. For questions, do I work? Do you work? Does he, she, or it work? Do we work? Do they work? We see that we have the do or the does at the beginning before the pronoun or the noun. And then, of course, we end after the pronoun or noun, we have the verb in its base form for the simple present. For the present progressive, we change the do and does to the be verbs am, is, are. We, of course, keep the pronouns or nouns in the middle. and then of course the main verb with ing after. So we have be verb, noun or pronoun, and work with, and the verb with ing. Okay, let's continue with contractions. You should have already discussed contractions in basic 1. But basically, we have the pronoun plus the be verb. So remember the pronouns are these. These are here, these are here, it's all the same. So I am. So when you add I and am, you get I am. That would be the contraction for I am. You could say you are, we are, or they are. So that would be your, we're, and their, respectively. We also have the pronouns he, she, and it with the be verb is. So really, we just use the same, the same pronoun with the same be verb as we see here. So I am, you are, he is. And of course, he and is would be he's, she and is would be she's, it and is would be its. This can also be used with do not, with the verb do, and of course the negatory not. So does not becomes doesn't, do not becomes don't. And of course, be and not. But in this case, we are not using be. We're using the be verbs, which are is, are, or am. So is not would become isn't, as in he isn't working. Are not, aren't, they aren't working. And am not doesn't really become a contraction because I don't think amn't is a good way to contract. So I am not working. So am not is not a contraction. Okay. So let's do a little bit of practice. Fill in the correct form of the present progressive as in the examples. I forgot to erase it, so this is already completed. But anyways, the runners are approaching the finish line. The main verb would be approach. Okay? And if the sentence were, actually, let me just remove it. Okay, so we have the main verb approach. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You already saw it. Anyways, we would just add the be verb are. And then, of course, approach with ing. And I'm going to erase all that because it looks horrible. Back to presenting the whole thing. Are you preparing the contract for the client? We have the main verb prepare. And since this is a question, we put the be verb are before the pronoun you. And then, of course, if you noticed, we eliminate this e and we add ing to the end of prepare. We don't always eliminate this e. This is more based on its sound. We don't really say this e. This is a silent e, which is why it's eliminated. This last sentence, Carlos isn't playing in today's tournament. We have the main verb play, we have the negative not, and of course, the main verb is. So Carlos is not playing in today's tournament. Let's continue with work you can actually do yourselves. All right, so you can turn on your mics and tell me. The team members stay late to finish the bid. How do we turn that into the present progressive?
Are staying.
Exactly right. What was your name?
So I'm Haley.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Swan Haley. I was saying Swan Haley. I like the way it sounds. I like the correct form. So Swan Haley. Okay, good. Thank you. The team members are staying late to finish the bid. And now, if you notice, we have two blanks with a name in between them. This is a question, so this is why it's like this. So who can tell me the answer to number 2? How do we turn this into the present progressive?
Sería is
What
doing.
is Kenneth doing?
Okay. Two people spoke at the same time, so I'm not sure. Somebody still has their mic on, so could whoever has their mic on, please answer.
Sería what is Kenneth doing over there?
Exactly right. We have what is, the be verb would be right before the name, Kenneth. So what is Kenneth? And then we have do, which we just add ing to. So what is Kenneth doing over there? Very good. And your name?
Nayeli.
Nayeli, thank you. Remember, everybody, that I've only heard you speak about twice in lo que va de semestre, so I still don't know how to identify you guys. Plus, all I see in the screen is a presentation, so anyways. Number 3. Blank you blank a big wedding.
Are you planning?
Are you planning a big wedding? Exactly right. The be verb are would go right before the pronoun you, and then main verb plan, we would add ing to that, and of course an additional n here. So are you planning a big wedding? Good. Your name?
José Lascano.
Jose Lacano, thank you. Alondra, help you put the lights up.
Is helping.
Alondra is helping you put the lights up. Okay, that was a good answer. Your name?
José González.
Jose Gonzalez. Okay, I gotta remember that there's 2 Jose. All right, I heard a female voice. Were you gonna say something?
No.
All right. Let's take a look at number 4 and compare that to number 2. So in number 2, we have the 2 blanks because we separated the be verb and the main verb between the name. In this one, we have a proper name, a person's name, but we only saw 1 blank. What if I were to take this and so what if we were to do it this way? What if we were to separate the blanks and put the name in the middle? So Jose Gonzalez said earlier, Alondra is helping you put the lights up. How could we separate that?
Pues primero ponemos is
Is Alondra?
Alondra helping you put the lights up?
There you go. That is perfect. I don't know who spoke. What's your name?
Hennessy.
Genesis, thank you. So Genesis, is Alondra helping you put the lights up? So we could use it both ways. We could use is Alondra helping, or we could just say Alondra is helping you put the lights up. I kind of prefer the other way, like this. Is Alondra helping you put the lights up? Because it just sounds better. Both sentences, both questions are correct, grammatically speaking, but I think this one just kind of flows better. I'm going to erase that. I'll save it and leave it later. And finally, number 5, blank Amanda, blank in from New York tonight.
Is Amanda flying in from New York tonight?
Is Amanda flying in from New York tonight? Yes, very good. Okay. We could also, if we were to eliminate that first blank and just do everything after Amanda, would that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so say that sentence with only with the be verb and everything after Amanda. So ignore that first blank.
Amanda is flying in from New York tonight.
Exactly right. Thank you. And your name?
Hennessy.
Oh, Hennessey's. Okay, good. Thank you for the continued participation. Fantastic. All right. So let's do a little bit of practice with both the present simple, which is actually simple present. That was my bad. And the present progressive. So put the verbs into the correct tense, simple present or present progressive. Okay. So number one, who would like to say it and of course answer it and tell me whether or not it's simple or progressive?
Progressive.
Okay, but what is the,
Sería I am writing a test.
I couldn't hear you well.
I'm writing a test.
I am writing a test.
I am writing a test. So we added am, which is a be verb, and then we added ing to write. So that would make it either simple or progressive. You tell me.
Progressive.
Progressive. Very good. Your name?
Nayeli.
Najeli. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Number two, somebody who hasn't participated yet, feel free. Just read the sentence, conjugate the verb, and tell me whether or not it's simple or progressive.
Simple present.
Okay, so how do we conjugate this verb?
Walks.
Walks, we add the S to it. So she usually walks to school. Very good. I don't want to guess who spoke.
Sonreír.
Number three.
It's, but look, today she goes by bike.
All right, so you added ES to go, and you
Yes.
made that sentence into
Simple present.
simple present. Very good. Number four, every Sunday we go to see my grandparents. I'm going to call somebody. So,
Yeah, go.
yeah, sure.
Go.
No, that's totally fine. Go ahead.
Simple present.
Simple present. Every Sunday we go to see my grandparents. Exactly right. That would be simple present because we did nothing to change this main verb. And a main verb that is untouched is always simple. Nayeli.
Sí.
Okay. Okay. Starting to remember your voice. Okay, good. Nayeli, thank you. Number five. I'm going to call on somebody, so give me 1 second. Joniel, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, Joniel, can you answer number five?
He is gone.
Okay. So you say he often is going to the cinema.
Yes.
It's not bad. You could put is before often. You could say he is often going to the cinema. That would sound a little better. But I think it would work better in a different way. So instead of making it progressive, make it simple. Remember that in the simple, you either leave the verb as is or you add an S to the end. So in this case, if we were to make it simple, he often what? All you have to do is add the S.
Guys.
Exactly right. He often goes to the cinema. And that would be simple. So thank you, Junian. All right, so we have from 1 to 5. Quiet, please. I am writing a test, which can be progressive. She usually walks to school. We just added an S, so that makes it simple. I got a message from eBay. But look, today she goes by bike, which would be simple. You could also say, but look, today she is going by bike, which would be progressive. It works both ways. Every Sunday we go to see my grandparents. That would be simple. You could also make this progressive, but it wouldn't be present progressive. Every Sunday we are going to see my grandparents. That would be kind of more contextually future, but we're going to see that later. We're just going to keep this as simple. So every Sunday we go. And number 5, he often goes to the cinema. Go es, that would make it simple. Okay, so that was the end of that presentation. I think this one's already on Canvas. I'm going to check it out later. And let's go check out this other presentation here, in which we just kind of explain a couple more small rules about the simple versus the progressive tense. All right, so in the simple present, we use this tense when we want to talk about fixed habits or routines, things that don't change. We already established that. So it's stuff that happens all the time. The simple present expresses facts in the present. So there are a couple of rules on how to conjugate the verb in the simple present. I know I said that conjugate, you may not remember what that means. It just means put the verb in the correct context. Let me mute my phone. So many verbs end with S. All you have to do is add the S. So it's plays, starts, runs, and jumps. So we have Colin, he plays football. The movie starts now. She runs very quickly and he jumps very high. Okay, so a lot of verbs. I would say off the top of my head, with no actual, not actually having counted them all, I would say about 90% of the verbs end with S. There are some exceptions, such as can, may, must, and might. This is a specific word class. I don't know if you guys know this. These are modals. We will be seeing those again in the future. Just a little foreshadowing there. So we saw that you can either leave the verb as is with no changes. You can either add the letter S and conjugate the verb that way. In this case, we have words that end with es. So go, which ends with an O, all you do is add es to it. Wash, it ends with an H, you add es. X and ch, all you have to do is add es. So let's see the examples here. Kathy goes to the cinema every Friday. So it ended with an O and we added es. Manuel washes his own clothes. Okay, washes. The artist mixes many colors together. Teach. Christian teaches English. That was a little meta commentary there. So for verbs that end with ch, o, s, sh, and x, these are the ones that you add es at the end. So recapping that, the main verb in the simple present can stay exactly the same. You can end it with an S or you can end it with ES, and it all does the same thing, just conjugating the verb for the simple present. If a verb ends with a consonant and a Y, you change the Y to an I, and then you add ES. And I know this sentence was a little hard to digest, so let's just see it in action. So we have study. Study ends with a consonant and with a Y. So we have consonant D and the letter Y. We're going to change this Y into this I, and then we add ES. Okay, so study becomes studies. Okay, you change DY and then you die. All right, we have fly. We have the consonant L, and then of course letter Y, and then we change that into IES. Copy. We have consonant P with the letter Y, and we change that into IES, so it's copies. Same thing with dries. Okay, so more often than not, if you see a Y, you're probably going to have to change to IES. There may be a very small percentage of examples in which you wouldn't do that because maybe this wouldn't be a consonant, but that's a topic for another day. I'm not going to go into that. So this presentation is called Simple versus Progressive. So let's meet our contender progressive. The present progressive puts emphasis on the course or duration of an action. This is used for actions going on in the moment of speaking and for actions taking place only for a short period of time. Let's see what that means in just a moment. So the rules for present progressive are as follows. We use the present form of be, which is the be verbs, of course, and we had the main verb with ing. Okay? So what are the the present forms of be verbs? In the present tense, be verbs are am, are, and is. Okay? I hope you can see my mouse pointer. I'm pointing at the be verbs, and of course they are bolded, so you should be able to see them stand out. And then of course we have the verb with ing. So speak, speaking, clean, cleaning, shine, shining, dance, dancing, fight, fighting. So I am speaking, you are cleaning, he is shining, or it is shining, we are dancing, and they are fighting. Okay? Remember, it's just present form of be verb, main verb, ing. So I mentioned this in passing earlier. Some verbs need to lose a letter. For verbs ending with a silent E, you remove that silent E and then you add ing. So we have these verbs, come, make, like. The E's are all silent here. You don't say comey, makey, likey. I mean, you could, I don't see why. Anyways, since this E is silent, all we're going to do is snap our fingers like Thanos, and then the E is eliminated, and then we just add ing. So literally, we remove the E and just add ing. So come becomes coming, make, making, like, liking. There are other words, and this is a little bit more complicated because you have to really watch out for it, but it's not too difficult either way. Verbs that end with a consonant, vowel, consonant. When this happens, you just have to double that last consonant, and then you add ing. Let's see what that means. So we have run, swim, stop, and hit. How do we know that it ends with a CVC? Well, let's take a look at the last three letters of each of these words. Of course, some of these words are exactly three letters, so it should be easy. And I like to do it from the end going back to the beginning. So we have CVC, which it actually goes the same way backwards, so it's CVC, it's a palindrome. So this is a consonant, this is a vowel, and this is a consonant. Okay? So run, all we have to do is add ing, but before that ing, we have to add an additional n. Swim, okay, we have consonant, vowel, consonant. We just add another m, and then we add ing. Stop, consonant, vowel, consonant, you see? And then we just add another p before adding ing. Hit, hitting. Of course, before the ing, we double up and we get another t. So if you can always see the consonant, vowel, consonant structure at the end of the word, then all you have to do is double up on this last letter, and then you add ing. Okay, so we saw the opposite of this earlier. We saw words that end with y and then they become ie. In this one, it is exactly the opposite. So we have lie, tie, die, which is lie. You change this ie to a y, and then you add ing. Same thing with tie. This IE kind of becomes Y, and then we add ING. Same thing with die. IE becomes Y, and then you add ING. There are a couple more rules. So when a verb ends with C, then before the ING, you add a K. So let's take a look at that. Picnic and traffic. They both end with C, and instead of just adding an ING with nothing else, we're going to add a K to it. So right now you are the king of picnics and you are the king of traffic because you added a K between the ING and the main verb that ends with a C. And then of course we have those that end with Y, those that end with X, and those that end with W. All you have to do is simply add ING to the end. So carry and enjoy becomes carrying and enjoying. We didn't change anything. All we did was put the ING right there. Same thing with X and W. So fix, snow, grow. All you have to do is add ING to the end, no problem. Okay? This, I'm recycling a presentation that I used last semester. So remember, this is a recap for Basic 1. So this is just, some of you who've taken my class already have already seen this presentation. Right now, we're not going to do this. I'm going to save this for another day. We may do it, we may not. If we do it, it will be for Friday, but don't worry about this, okay? Okay, so that would be the end of that presentation. This presentation is already available on Canvas. I'm going to go into Canvas really quick. And student view, okay. So you guys have already seen this. Every week I'm adding a new module. So this is the first week, this is week 2, which already ended, and this is this week. Of course, I'll be adding to it as the week progresses. Last week, of course, you had the parts of speech and the simple present progressive, and then you had the simple present quiz, which I posted on Friday at some point. You basically got the notification that it was due for last night, but of course that is available for another week, so you have until Sunday at midnight to complete it. Make sure that you do so, because when that quiz closes, you won't be able to get it back. Okay, so this is just the quiz here. Of course, I didn't answer it, so you're not going to get any of the answers here. This is a simple present quiz. There are some questions here that are not really, don't really have much to do with the simple present, such as this one. The class meetings occur on which days? Attendance for the English 3102 course will be worth 10% of the final grade. So I added those two just to keep you on your toes, make sure that you guys know what's happening with class. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you. So this presentation here is already available on Canvas. It's right here. You can just click it. If you're on your computer, you can download it. If you're on your phone, you can just view it. I think that's it for today. Are there any questions, comments, anything you'd like me to know? Okay, I'm sure I did them. There. Well done. Let's say getting access. Awesome. This time we also has no comments or questions. Okay, that's fine. Okay, if that is if you don't have any questions or comments, then I guess we could just stop class for today. There's only 4 minutes left, so that's fine. Guys, thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. If you haven't completed the quiz, please make sure you do so before Sunday, or it's gone forever. I will be available for my office hours right after this class ends. At 9:30, you can just click here, and you can just meet with me at Google Meet. I'm actually going to open that right now. Switch it now. Okay. So if that's it, guys, then I will see you on Wednesday. Have a wonderful day. Jose, Josue, Jeremy. Okay, so a question here, Swanady. Let me see here if there's anything else. Okay, Johannes, Omar, Guillermo, Natalie, Sebastián. Okay, so, Swanady. Cuando le añado es or s in the verb. So, you add s. Let me just open up the presentation again. Where did I close it? Okay. So how do you know whether or not to add s or es? Let's take a look at that. It's safe to assume that most verbs will end with s. There's actually not that many that you can just leave by themselves. It all depends on the context of the sentence. But basically, if you see it ends with any of the, wait, am I presenting? I'm not. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Yanin, have a nice day. Derek, Sanji, and Swanada is still here. Okay. Let me just present this again. I realized I wasn't showing you anything. And you should be seeing now. Okay. So basically, yeah, most verbs that you see may just automatically have the s. Hay bien poco que no. So really, it's not when to add the s, it's when to differentiate between the s or the es. Sorry, my cat is biting my whiteboard. Okay. So whenever it ends with ch, o, s, ch, or x, that is when we add es. If it doesn't end with any of these, then you go with just the regular s. Now, is there a way to tell when you add the s, whether or not to add the s? It's kind of hard to say because really there is no rule that tells you when. It just kind of, it's context based. But I'm gonna look into that just to give you a better answer for Wednesday. So para el miércoles la aviso con más precisión if there is a better way to identify when to add s or es. Okay? All right, so I'm actually going to write that down so I don't forget. And I'm going to look into that right now in my office hours. So, yeah, pendiente, and I will speak about this again on Wednesday. Guys, I will see you on Wednesday, okay?